warmly welcome all of you to the Speak in English online lecture series, which has been designed by the International Association for Quality Education, along with South Asian International Association for Early Childhood Care and Development, in order to provide support to everyone who is keen in developing their communicational skills. I'm Dishan Jagannathan, Operations Leader of International Association for Quality Education, and I'll be briefing you on Lesson 7, which is on past continuous tense. This series has been designed under the guidance of Mr. Janaka Kamal Goda, the President of International Association for Quality Education and President of South Asian International Association for Early Childhood Care and Development. The sustainable development goal of this organization is to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. The purpose of organizing this lecture series is to improve communication skills in English and to overcome challenges in global society. Let's move into the lesson. So we've seen what subjects are in the previous lessons. So without further ado, let me brief by saying, as we all know, subjects I, you, we, they, he, she, and it. This comes in the beginning of the sentence. Action, which is a verb. A verb is an action that we do. And when you add ing to the verb, example, read plus ing, reading. Run plus ing becomes running. So when we add ing to a verb, it expresses the action is being processed at a particular moment, at that instant, which is continuous. Types of sentences could be classified as positive sentence, negative sentence, positive questions, and negative questions. The first one we'll be looking today is positive sentence. The structure of the positive sentence for past continuous tense goes as subject plus was or were plus verb plus ing. So, I was playing. She was cooking. They were studying. So when we look at the verbs used here, play, cook, and study, while adding ing, they become playing, cooking, and studying. And this refers to an event which has finished in the past, but immediately finished. So that is continuous tense. I was playing. So you have played, but it's over and immediate. So that's the reason it goes with past continuous tense. The structure of the positive sentences for past continuous tense. For the subjects we, you, they, we use were plus verb plus ing plus object with place and time. And for subjects I, he, she, it, we use was plus verb ing plus object and place with time. Let's look at some examples. I was playing cricket in our garden yesterday. The subject is I plus was and verb here is play. So it becomes playing and the object is cricket. We were studying English in our office last week. We is the subject plus verb and the verb used is study, it becomes studying, object English. You were watching a film at the Regal last month. You is the subject plus verb watching, film is the object. They were speaking in English at the airport last year. They is the subject plus verb is speaking, and object is English. He was working as a teacher at Mahanama College in 1995. He is the subject, followed by was, and the verb used is working, and teacher is the object. King Parakramabahu was constructing a dam in Anuradhapura 2000 years ago. So subject here is King Parakramabahu, followed by was, and the verb is constructing, object is the dam. The car was coming towards us when we were walking on the road. Car is the subject, followed by was, and the verb is coming. Object here is us. The next type we'll be going through is the negative sentence. The structure of the negative sentence in past continuous tense is subject plus was or were plus not plus verb ing. Was not could be contracted as wasn't, and were not could be contracted as weren't. I was not playing, it could also be said as I wasn't playing. She was not cooking, she wasn't cooking. They were not studying, they weren't studying. The structure of negative sentences in past continuous tense. For the subjects I, he, she, it, we make use of was plus not, that's wasn't, plus the verb and ing, plus object, followed by place with time. And for subjects we, you, they, the sentence goes with were not, which is weren't, plus verb ing, plus object with place and time. The examples go as we weren't studying English in our office last week. We is the subject, weren't, which is used in the negative sentence, and the verb is studying, object English. Likewise, you weren't watching a film at the Regal last month. They weren't speaking in English at the airport last year. I wasn't playing cricket in our garden yesterday. He wasn't working as a teacher at Mahanama College in 1995. Sarat wasn't preparing for the exam last year. The car wasn't coming towards us when we were walking on the road. I repeat, the car wasn't coming towards us when we were walking on the road. In all the sentences, we use the subject followed by the contracted forms wasn't or weren't, plus verb ing, and object, place and time. Next, we'll be moving into positive questions. Positive questions begin with either was or were plus the subject plus verb ing. I repeat, the questions begin with was or were plus subject plus verb ing. Was I playing? Was she cooking? Were they studying? So you're making questions regarding an action which has happened in the past. The structure of positive questions for past continuous tense. For the subjects I, he, she, and it, we begin the question with was. So it goes as was plus the subject I, he, she, or it, plus verb ing, plus object plus place and time. And for the subjects we, you, and they, we use the question word were. So it goes as were plus subjects, we, you, or they, plus verb ing, plus object, place, and time. Examples. Verb is studying English in our office last week. The question begins with were followed by the subject we, verb studying, and object English. Were you watching a film at the Regal last month? Question word begins with were plus subject you, verb watching plus object here is the film. Were they speaking in English at the airport last year? Question begins with were plus the subject they. Speaking is the verb plus English is the object. Likewise, was I playing cricket in our garden yesterday? Was he working as a teacher at Mahanama College in 1995? Was Sarath preparing for the exam last year? Was the car coming towards us when we were walking on the road? So, for subjects, I, he, she, it, we make use of the question was, and for you, we, and they, we make use of the question were, which comes at the beginning of the sentence. Let's move to the last type, which is negative question. The negative question, the structure of negative questions in past continuous tense goes as was not or were not plus subject with verb plus ing. Was not I playing? But when we talk, we do never say was not. The questions go as wasn't I playing? Always we make use of the contracted form. Wasn't she cooking? Weren't they studying? So these are negative questions. So when we form negative questions, we use the word not. The structure of the negative question in past continuous tense goes as was not, which is wasn't, followed by the subjects either I, he, she, or it, plus verb plus ing, plus object with place and time. And for subjects, we, you, and they, the questions begin with weren't, were not, the contracted form weren't. So the questions go as weren't plus either we, you, they, which are the subjects, plus verb plus ing, plus the object with place and time. The examples, weren't we studying English in our office last week? Weren't is the question, negative question word, plus subject is we, verb studying, and object is English. Likewise, weren't you watching a film at the Regal last month? The question begins with weren't plus you, which is the subject, watching is the verb, and film is the object. Weren't they speaking in English at the airport last year? The question begins with weren't plus they, which is the subject, and verb is speaking, and object is English. Wasn't I playing cricket in our garden yesterday? Wasn't he working as a teacher at Mahanama College in 1995? Wasn't Sarath preparing for the exam in last year? Wasn't the car coming towards us when we were walking on the road? Here, when we look at the last two questions, negative questions, wasn't Sarath preparing for the exam? The question begins with wasn't plus the subject is Sarat. The reason for using was here is Sarat refers to a singular third person. So that's why we use wasn't. And likewise, the car, which is also a singular. So therefore, we use wasn't the car coming towards us when we were walking on the road. What we learned in this lesson has been summarized in this slide. The positive sentences in past continuous tense goes as I was going to school at that moment. They were walking home last night. Nimal was studying in Central College in 1995. So the form would be subject plus was or were, verb ing, and negative sentences I wasn't going to school. They weren't walking home last night. Vimal wasn't studying in Central College in 1995. So this formation would be I plus wasn't or weren't plus verb ing. And positive questions and negative questions will be starting with either was or were. So for positive questions, it goes as was plus the subject, verb ing. Was I going to school at that moment? Were they walking home last night? Was Nimal studying in Central College in 1995? Negative questions begin with either wasn't or weren't, the contracted forms, followed by the subject plus verb ing. Wasn't I going to school? Weren't they walking home last night? Wasn't Nima studying in Central College in 1995? Assessment and evaluation. Please visit the given web page, go to the Speaking English lecture series, follow the guidance to complete the assessment process, and watch the next lesson to become fluent in English. Thank you for joining and have a nice day. Thank you.
Fly so high, I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through.